Hi, I'm Tim from RealWebsiteHints.com, and this is the second part of my review of cameras for website owners and website builders. In this video, we're going to look at some photo and video samples. So let's go ahead and get started. I do have to confess, I did make a little bit of a mistake when I was shooting outdoors, and I had the Canon at f2.8 and the other cameras at f8. So there may be a little bit of difference there as far as, but here's some sample shots. There's a lot of variables, unfortunately, that day. The clouds were sort of going in and out. So you may see some exposure differences between different parts of the shots. The next three shots are crops of the last shot. You can see the Canon looks a little bit soft, and I think that's because it was at f2.8, whereas the other two cameras were at f8. I feel the main difference is the color that the auto white balance puts off and the color that the cameras are naturally set up with. Next shots here are some portrait shots that I took of myself. Really like the Canon. I think that the lens really helps for portrait shots because of that longer length and the f2.8 compared to the Sony. And then I threw this last shot in using a 60mm lens on the Panasonic just to show what a different depth of field would be if you used an interchangeable lens. This last shot here I took with a Canon. It's a star circle shot. It's just a setting in the camera. It comes with a bunch of features like that. Time-lapse night shot. You can also do that with the Sony, but you have to buy those features additionally using the Sony apps, whereas with the Canon it comes built right in. Alright, now let's go ahead and check out some video samples. Shot these outside. It was a really cloudy day, so lots of clouds were going and changing the exposure. Generally, I think the cameras performed really well. The G7X was very good, very close, surprisingly enough, to the Sony, even in XAVS mode, where I really noticed the differences in those stones underneath the building. There's definitely some more smooth tonality changes and a little bit more sharpness in the plants, if you zoom in and really look closely. Panasonic, unfortunately, does have a lot of moire and aliasing lines in the video. That does get improved if you turn down the sharpness on that camera. So here's a comparison between XAVCS and AVC HD. The biggest difference is in the tonal range on the stones there, as well as there's a little bit of increased detail on the plants between these two shots. I think for YouTube videos in particular, I don't think most people are going to notice the difference. Here's sort of the portrait style shot with the different cameras. One thing I was surprised by is the Sony, for some reason, looks like it has skin detailing turned down, even though the skin detail feature is turned off. So I find that a little bit weird. And then here's just sort of some product style shots I shot with each camera. I was really impressed with the RX100 III and the G7X with the advanced stabilization modes. And here's a sample between XAVC-S on the Sony and MP4 on the G7X. You can definitely see in that flame tap sort of a tonal range difference. I also think that the Canon would look better if the sharpness was turned down. Sort of the default setting on the Sony seems to have less sharpness than the Canon. But that's sort of the main difference that you see, is sort of the tonal range in that one tap handle there. For this part of the review, I wanted to see how the cameras handled a real-world situation for a business where you want to go out and you want to shoot a video for your business and you want to see how these cameras work. Now, I did this really fast. I spent just about an hour shooting the whole thing, so I really did rely on automatic mode, which I would normally never do. But I also wanted to see how these cameras performed in automatic mode. And I'll let you guys judge that for yourself. So the first part, I'm just going to let the clips run through and you'll see which cameras they were shot on. And then the second parts, I'll give you my opinions on how the cameras performed. So let's go ahead and watch it.
Welcome to Gremlin Growlers, home of the best damn beer team. We're the original craft beer and growler shop south of Atlanta. We're independently owned and operated, and that's reflected in the products we carry. Every product we carry is American independently owned and operated. That's not on accident, that's on purpose. We've got 22 taps, bottles, cans, and kegs, and our menu changes essentially every single day. Welcome. Welcome to Gremlin Growlers, home of the best damn beer team. We were the original craft beer and growler shop south of Atlanta. We're independently owned and operated, and every product in our building is American independently owned and operated. That's not on accident. We've got 22 taps, bottles, cans, and kegs. Our menu changes every single day. Welcome. Welcome to Gremlin Growlers, folks. We're the original craft beer and growler shop south of Atlanta. We call ourselves home of the best damn beer team. Every product in our building is American independently owned and operated, and we did that on purpose. That's not an accident. We've got 22 taps and our menu changes every single day, and we're an eco-friendly concept from the ground up. Welcome.
Alright, so there were the video clips. Now I'll give you my critique. Here's the G7X. I really love this interview shot. I just really like the way I was able to use that lens that it comes with to pull the subject away from the background. The white balance seemed to be hit or miss, but generally I find the shots really pleasing on the G7X and the colors to be really pleasing, and I was really impressed with that. Also, both the Sony and the G7X have great stabilization. This whole thing was shot handheld, and I really like the stabilization of both cameras. Okay, so here's the Sony. It does have the highest quality video with a great codec, the XAVS codec, and you can definitely see a small difference in quality over the other cameras. But for me, for some reason, the colors that come off the Sony naturally, I just don't like as much as the other cameras, and I can't quite put a finger on it. Sony does have the most options in camera to adjust the look. Okay, so here's the GM1. The autofocus during video mode does not work well. It does have a good workaround, though, where you can lock the autofocus during video, so you just press the screen where you want it to focus, and then when you push the record button, it locks that focus in. So that's a really good feature. The other cameras, you have to rely on the autofocus or use manual focus. You don't get that sort of nice hybrid option. I do think that the GM1 definitely had the most consistent white balance of all the cameras.
So any of these cameras are great choices. They all make great images. Of course, for me, the best camera would actually be a mashup of all of these cameras. I don't want the lens from the Canon, the high-quality video mode from the Sony, and the amazing Wi-Fi remote control of the Panasonic. But all three cameras take amazing photos and great video. I'd break them down this way. If you want a simplistic but powerful interface and an amazing lens, get the Canon. If you love diving deep into the settings and you need the highest quality video, get the Sony. And if you want an amazing Wi-Fi remote control, consistent automatic operation, and the option for additional lenses, get the Panasonic. I don't think there's a bad choice between any of these cameras. Get the one with the interface that you think would be most intuitive for you to use. Then, get to know the camera. Take lots of shots. Try different angles. Experiment. Have some fun. If you want to read more about these cameras and see my choices for cheapskate alternatives, go ahead over to www.realwebsitehints.com/3cameras. For more reviews, tips, and hints for making great websites easily, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and visit me at realwebsitehints.com. And as always, if you have a question, or if there's a product, theme, or plugin you'd like me to review, go ahead and leave a comment below or send me an email. Thanks for watching.